Derby County face a huge week of football as we head into the run-in. There is 9 games of football left, 27 points left to play for, and on Tuesday night, Derby host Reading at Pride Park Stadium. Now, we played them just a few weeks ago, and Derby came up unstuck, losing 1-0, and it was a very, very disappointing performance, and it was compounded by the fact that we then ended up losing Tyrese John-Jules for the rest of the season to injury. It was, I believe, Corey Blackett-Taylor made his debut that day, and it wasn't exactly a performance to be proud of. But let's take a pure focus onto the upcoming fixture and the previous form of both sides, the head-to-heads, and what the league table looks like. So, as I previously mentioned, Derby host Reading at Pride Park Stadium on Tuesday night. It is a 7:45 kickoff. There will be a matchday vlog, so make sure you've hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for that video. As you can see by this head-to-head here, you can see that Reading seemed to get the better of Derby on most occasions, and even most recently in that COVID season, yes, Derby beat Reading on the 29th of September. But when it really mattered in January, when they were on that good run of form, Derby drew that game 2-2. It felt like a win, though, because of how late the goal was. But then you go back to the 23rd of January, it was an opportunity for us to build on our performances. And I think we could have gone top of the league that night. And we ended up losing 1-0. It was a very, very disappointing performance. But Reading, as you can see, they hold the edge over Derby County. 11 wins, 8 losses and 6 draws between the two sides, and it's very disappointing our form against Reading, but hopefully that is something we can turn around at Pride Park. It's going to be a massively important game in my opinion, and if we just scroll down a little bit further, we can look at the form of both sides, and as you can see, Reading have lost 3 of their 5, Derby have lost 2 of their 5 back to back, but Derby have also won the last 2 games, scoring 6 goals, and that is massively important, especially for goal difference. The 1-0 win at Stevenage looked like Derby were going to hit some form, but then they lost 2 games back-to-back against Barnsley and Charlton. But the 2 previous wins against Port Vale and Bristol Rovers have been absolutely magnificent. If you haven't checked out my Bristol Rovers match reaction, I'll link that in the video at some point. So look out for that in the top corner. It'll pop up. And go and check that out. But as you can see, Reading lost 2-1 at the weekend. They won 3-1 versus Carlisle, lost 3-2 to Shrewsbury. They also beat Port Vale 2-0, but they did lose 4-1 to Portsmouth. So this is going to be a massively important game. We're going to take a look into the league table now, see how the weekend's fixtures affected the game and how this fixture could affect the league table. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below or in this top corner here. We upload match previews, reviews, match day vlogs for the Derby County games. I also put out a load of content regarding transfer news and things like that, which we'll get into more in the coming months. And I'm going to be doing a video on the run-in, so make sure you have hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for that. And let me know your thoughts in the comments about the game at the weekend, and obviously heading into Reading. What are your predictions? So yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next part of the video. So we'll take a look into Derby first, as they are higher up the table, and as you can see, we sit in 2nd place. And obviously the recent form hasn't been amazing, but the 2 previous games, 2 back-to-back wins, 6 goals scored, none conceded. Joe Wildsmith back between the sticks, looking absolutely impressive. Dwight Gayle picking up 2 goals in 2 games. And as you can see, the goal difference is massively better at Derby County. They're on 72 points, 5 points behind Portsmouth. Still have to play Portsmouth, by the way, so that's something to keep an eye on. Bolton Wanderers now sit a point behind, but they're level on games. That's something that Derby need to be proud of. The only team they really had to worry about was Barnsley, and they have a game in hand, but they are now 5 points behind. But Peterborough have snuck into 4th place, 68 points, 4 points behind Derby, and they also have a game in hand. We're going to now look a little bit further down the table at Reading. Obviously, we'll talk about their points deduction. So as you can see highlighted by the cursor here, Reading sitting 18th place on 39 points. They're quite a ways away from Cheltenham Town, but obviously Cheltenham Town do have a game in hand, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But Reading have been deducted 6 points this season, so if they had their points back, they'd be sitting in 14th place. But at Derby, we can sympathise with Reading. As much as I don't agree with how they treated our situation a few years ago, I do sympathise with the fact that their owner is doing what he's doing and they're struggling to get through the process. They lost a few players in January and they'll probably lose more in the summer if the problem isn't solved. But hopefully they can stay in League One to keep them as a more prospective purchase for a potential buyer. But it's going to be interesting to see how they get on in the final rounds of the season. Obviously, hopefully they don't get on well against us. But yeah, 39 points out of 37 games. 5 points clear of Cheltenham Town in that 21st place. But anything can happen in football. It's going to be a mega few weeks to see what happens at both ends of the table. There's loads to play for at either end, and there's loads of teams involved in both battles. So shall we now take a look into Reading, their danger men, and their manager. So here is Ruben Selles. He is the manager of Reading. He's coached 45 games, winning 18, losing 18 and drawing 9. He's best known for his time at Southampton, and he is averaging 1.4 points per game at Reading. So he's doing all right. Hopefully he'll get a better situation for himself next season, whether that be with Reading or another team. That's their manager, Ruben Selles. So let's take a look now at the danger men for Reading. Obviously, you've got the two forwards to worry about. Well, the three forwards to worry about of Harvey Nibbs, Sam Smith and Femi Aziz. But you also can't forget how influential Lewis Wing can be on his day. He's an absolutely brilliant player. And at this level, he's outrageous. He's got 10 goal contributions this season. Harvey Nibbs has got 15. Femi Aziz 13. So there's some players that Derby need to look out for. Hopefully that's something that they can do. Erin Cashin, Sonny Bradley and Curtis Nelson have been excellent over recent weeks. Hopefully they can keep up that recent form. So here is my team prediction for the upcoming fixture against Reading. As you can see, I'm sticking with the back three, and as you can see, Horahan is in the midfield. He came into the side at the weekend, if you weren't able to catch up with that game or watch my match review. So as a result of an injury to Max Bird, he'll be out for up to 3 weeks with a calf injury. I think it's a good time for Derby to look at what they can do without him. I thought Horahan was... He put in a decent performance, a decent shift against Bristol Rovers, and hopefully he can carry that on into this game. The two wing-backs of Sibley and Ward have been absolutely excellent in the previous 2 games, and talking about the back three, I mentioned it in the previous video, and I think I mentioned it in my match review. I think they've been absolutely excellent. Now, I am not a fan of the back three, and I would prefer to play a back four, but without Craig Forsyth or Ryan Niambi, I think we're missing a bit of defensive solidity if we went to a back four. But yeah, so that would be my team prediction. Tom Barkhuizen and Mendez-Laing are brilliant in those roles. They sort of roam between going out and coming in, and I think it puts defenders on the back foot because they don't really know where they're going to go. And obviously Dwight Gayle has led the line well for my opinion, in every game he's played so far, especially the ones where he started. Charlton, I thought he was really good until he came off. And obviously Bristol Rovers and Port Vale, so hopefully he can do the same heading into this game. So, as you've just noted from that team prediction, Max Bird is out with an injury for the next three to 4 weeks with a calf injury. Obviously, massively disappointing for him. And realistically, it may be the end of his season because there's not that long to go. In 6 weeks, I think the season's over. So it's not long until that season is done. But hopefully he can return to fitness and get back in the side because he's a massively influential player and he will be a big miss. But we do have the likes of Liam Thompson, Corey Smith, Darren Robinson, Tyrese Forner, all in the ranks. So that's massive for like the future of the club, really, because we're seeing what options we've got available when Max Bird moves on in the summer to Bristol City. Obviously, in the previous video, I spoke about James Collins potentially returning at the end of March. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds because he'll be interested in getting back into the lineup. But Tyrese Forner was not on the bench today, and I'm not quite sure what the situation is with him. I haven't been able to listen to Paul Warne's post-match. I am recording this on Saturday evening. So it it's one of them ones. He came in and he's had a few really good performances, but he's also had a couple of not great performances, to put it lightly. So it's going to be interesting to see how that case unfolds over realistically the next 6 months, because is he going to go in the summer? Potentially, but we'll see what happens with that. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like button down below. Share it with all of your Derby County friends, and I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.